Hi, Michael. This is Puja Talwar from Good Times. We had met during The Greatest Showman. So my first question is, you do not set up easy tasks for yourself. First, you had the greatest showman, P.T. Barnum, and now you have perhaps the greatest performer of all time, Pink. You really do set yourself up for challenges, don't you?
I do. It's good to see you, Puja. I do. But, I think in both cases, I very much enjoy the people that I creatively get to collaborate with. And that's, for me, what makes it so enjoyable and exciting. And, it's a real privilege to get to do these projects.
Awesome. And I saw, the documentary that you made. It's just absolutely brilliant. I sang along, I laughed, and there were some very emotional moments as well. So how challenging was it, because it's unscripted, you've gone through interviews, been on tour. How challenging was this really?
I'm not going to lie, it was challenging keeping up with her. Her stamina, that she just goes and goes and goes. And it was really just me and Dave Spearing, one other cameraman, shooting everything. And we wanted the smallest footprint because we didn't want a big crew. We wanted to sort of be invisible, like just flies on the wall, observing what was going on. But it did mean that we were literally getting so little sleep for those weeks leading up to Wembley. That I think is sort of what makes the film feel a little more personal, because it's not formal interviews. It's just chatting in the car on the way to rehearsal, or it is sitting there really late at night after she's performed, after she's come home, played with the kids, read them books, put them to bed, and she's finally having a moment to herself and a glass of red wine, chatting with her husband. And we were there, to capture it.
Awesome. And, I must say, yes, Pink is the star, but the true stars are Willow and Jameson. You really have future stars out there.
Yeah, those kids are magical. Both of them are so special. And, Jameson's such a little charmer. And, Willow's this sort of deep thinking little, she's quite internal. And I found her fascinating to that amongst all of this circus and craziness of what touring life is, there was just this stillness, and she would just be sitting there looking at her mum, and I'd always be fascinated, thinking, what are you thinking?
Sure. And as you said, mum, and what comes across in this is Pink as the mother, not as the superstar, the woman that everyone looks up to, the mother. And then she makes a lot of poignant statements like, she wants her children to see through her mortality, that, she's only little Alicia who's trying to find herself. And that really came across. And what did you learn about Pink through the process that you were filming it?
When we were making the film, the whole juggling being a rock star and being a mum was really important to me. I think that if you're watching a show about a rock star or a pop star, you don't necessarily relate to their world. It's so extreme and so different to the world that you and I live. But if you make a story about being a mum and trying to do what's best for your kids and trying to balance your work life and your home life, well, that's the story that everyone can relate to. So sure. I think that was definitely the intention when we were setting out to make this. I think what I discovered, I discovered a lot, but I think what I really discovered was that there isn't a version of Pink that she presents to the world that is different to the one she is at home. I think that the Pink that you know and love is very much that same person behind closed doors. And, when you meet stars and you spend time with them, that's not always the case.
I so get that. And, when I saw that larger than life persona, but then she's just a mom, And also, is documentary filmmaking your favorite format? You had Amy, now you have Pink. What are actually the struggles involved as such? And how do you switch between mediums?
Yeah, they're very different disciplines, but it's all just about storytelling. So I think you look at different stories and you think, what is the best way to convey this? You know, is it a documentary? Is it a film? Is it a narrative film? Is it a narrative film musical? Is it for stage? I mean, all of those things come with their own license and their own creative challenges. But I think the story always dictates how you tell a story. And, you know, for me, the beautiful thing about musical projects is I feel that music brings a level of emotion. You know, you speak when words you sing when words no longer suffice.
Very true, because I sang along as I was watching it, and you know, some of my favorite numbers, and it starts with her singing Madonna's "Oh Father," which was her first stage performance. You know, so I mean, there were really some awesome moments. I can't wait for people to watch it. So, what is it about Pink that has really inspired you?
It has inspired me. You know, I don't have kids of my own, but I have lots of nieces and nephews to practice on, and. You know, it's really inspired me to not see the juggle of trying to pursue your dreams and your passion. That you can still do that when you have kids, you know. You shouldn't look at having a family as this moment where everything has to stop. And so that's what I really took away and learned myself, that it's okay to have a family and still be able to chase those dreams.
Absolutely. And also, since we've all been through a crazy time the last year, so what was it like you? How did you get your creative juices flowing literally during the pandemic, the crazy time that we've all lived through, and we're still living through?
I mean, you know, life's pretty hectic. So to just have pause put on and spend, you know, 6 months away from the world, it creatively, for me, and you know, I know for some people it was awful, and I have friends who, you know, suffered terribly through the time, and still are. So I'm always mindful of how, you know, fortunate I was, or I am still, to, you know, get to be creative and just on my own. You know, I can, you know, sit there with a pad and a pencil and I can work. And also I'm fortunate in that, you know, because the way that I work is you work on projects. And so there's always times in between projects where, you know, there's months where you go without an income. But that's okay, because, you know, you plan for that. And you go, oh, I'm working now, but I might not have work for another 6 months. I think people who sort of live week to week and have a life that is basically set up to have a check each week because of work. When people were unable to work, I mean, that was just horrific. And, you know, it was so hard on so many people. So I really feel very fortunate to have been in the position that I was, and creatively that pause was actually a very productive time.
Thank you so much. So what can we expect after All I Know so far?
I'm working on a stage musical with the music of Luciano Pavarotti. And I'm working on a musical biopic on the life of Robbie Williams.
Wow. Can't wait to see that. Thank you so much. Can't wait to see that. It's a crazy life. It's a crazy life, but all my favorite performers. Thank you so much. All the very best.
Puja, lovely to see you.
Same. Likewise.